Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Govs on the Go Alumni Edition, a podcast featuring alumni from the College of Arts and Letters here at Austin Peay State University. My name is Dr. Dean Hoon. I'm the Dean of the College. I'm also the host of the podcast. And today I'm talking with Andrea Yarbrough, who graduated with a degree in foreign language in 2012. Welcome to the podcast, Andrea.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, we're going to get around to what your career journey and your path has been, but let's start with give everybody a life update. What's going on?
Well, I'm currently here at Freudenberg Filtration Technologies, which is located in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and I manage their everyday operations in the laboratory for the research and development department.
That's excellent. And you're just not too far away from me. I could have just driven over, but I'm so glad you took the time that we can have this talk.
Yeah, me too. And I can't wait to tell you all about it.
So we always like to start at the beginning. And yours is an unusual beginning because you are not even starting in the U.S. You're actually in Europe. You were born in Germany. And I want to hear a little bit about, how that happened and your early beginnings.
So I was born in Nuremberg, Germany, a long time ago. We want to there. My mom is actually German, and my father was American. He was in the military, so I kind of grew up back and forth from the U.S. to Germany. We stayed in Germany when I was, I guess, 3 or 4 for quite some time. And I went to an all-German school. I started in kindergarten, and we stayed there until I was in like the 5th grade, to the end of the 5th grade. And then we moved here to the U.S. when I started around end of 5th grade. So yeah, then we ended up back here, and then we moved to Clarksville first, and then we ended up in Stewart County, Tennessee, believe it or not. So I did my middle school in North Stewart Elementary, and then finished up my high school at Dover, Stewart County High.
So was German language, was the German culture an early part of it must have been a part of your growing up?
It was very much a part of my heritage, and I loved German culture a lot. When I moved here to the U.S., it was very much a shock for me when we came here and what everybody did. I had a lot of freedom in Germany. I was able to go around on the bus systems and subways and stuff. And then I came here, and like you had to take a car to go everywhere. It was really weird. I didn't have the freedoms like I did there. It was really shocking. I had to learn the American slang. That was really weird. Everybody was speaking. It almost was like a foreign language to me. I'll never forget some of the words like y'all and all that. I was like, what is y'all? I don't understand what that is, and things like that. I know it doesn't seem much for people here and for me now, but at the time when you're a kid, you're like, I don't even know what that is. And because in the house we spoke English, but I didn't know how to read or write English when we came here. So it was very difficult. It was a very difficult time for me, and I just wanted to go back to Germany after we moved here.
Oh. Well, and you talked about some of the early influences. I always like to find out who influenced you and may have impacted you early on as a child. Can you talk about some of those early influences on your life?
It was a lot my grandparents. I was extremely close to my grandparents. So moving here was very hard for me. I had aunts and uncles over there that I was extremely close to as well. My friends were over there. So I was very influenced by them. And then when I came here, I felt like I had nothing and I had no one. So and then when I started to transition to over here to the US and the US life, I gave up a lot of my German culture, my heritages. And as you can tell, I don't have the German. Um, when I speak English, I don't have the German dialect.
Right.
And I worked really hard to get rid of it because kids would make fun of me and all those things.
Really?
And so I ended up um, really focusing on becoming American when I
Assimilating.
moved
Yeah.
here. Yeah. And so I gave up a lot of that. But yet I still kept in really close contact with my grandparents, and I would go and visit them every summer because they were such an influence on me. And when I would go to Germany, I would only speak German and I would not speak English because I didn't want people to know that I was American. So
Hmm.
it was just such a, a balance for me to try to keep that life. When I was growing up, I was pretty ashamed of it because it was so hard for me. I wanted to fit in here in the US, but I wanted to fit in Germany when I was over there because I didn't understand as a child, coming over here, the implications of it, especially not knowing when we moved over here with the teachers and stuff. I think teaching now is so different as it was then that they didn't have programs to help people that had foreign languages. Like, how do we help this child, transition and stuff? Kids made a lot of fun of you. It was not easy for me.
Wow. So now,
Mhm.
as an adult, I'm interested, Andrea, what kind of things from the German culture have you reclaimed that you thought that you now say, I embrace this. I want to make sure that that as an adult, there's not the same sort of shame that you need or pressure to assimilate.
So as an adult, I make sure, with my grandkids and even my children, when they were growing up, we celebrated all the German holidays. We did the Nikolaustag, the Santa Claus Day. We always had Christmas on the 24th. That evening, we never had it on the 25th. I'd never celebrated Christmas on the 25th like the Americans did with my family. Easter was extremely important to me. Easter in Germany is so different than Easter here. We would always fly home for Easter with my family, and I would take the girls over there when they were little, and I would make sure they had got to see the Easter markets, and I would take my children to Germany, and I would do a lot of that. We would do the soccer games over there. They loved soccer just as much as I did. And
Oh,
when the soccer championships would come on, we would stay up and we would watch them together and we would cheer together. And there was just a whole lot of making sure that they had that type of heritage that I had and the things that I loved growing up. And we did that together as a family. And when we went to Germany, we would do those things together. It
that's
was fun.
awesome. I'm so glad you
Yeah.
did that.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's move on to high school. What kind of things were you involved in high school?
I loved science and math in high school.
Wow.
That
Okay.
was my go-to thing, believe it or not, because it didn't require thinking about the English language a
Hmm.
lot. It had a lot of calculations, and so math, it just transferred over. I was very good in math when we came here. Actually, I was ahead of the curve in math, believe it or not. And I think it had a lot to do with where I was in schooling in Germany. So I felt like I was pretty smart in something. So math was something that I really held on to. And that just really translated into the sciences as well. So when I went to high school, I was taking every math class, science class that I could get my hands on. And we didn't have all those advanced classes like they do now. If they had advanced classes, it was before and after school. So, my parents would drop me off early and pick me up late because I was taking all those math and science classes, as many as I could. And I was one of the only kids that they allowed to have. I was allowed to graduate with an honors degree without taking advanced English, because English was my second language, and they didn't know how to handle me, but they kind of allowed it because it was my second language, and I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And, most of the time, most of the guests on our podcast are usually from the humanities and avoid the sciences and math. And here you are, that's just what you embraced early on. And, it's sort of the right brain, left brain argument, like, can you be creative and also be technically sound?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was in all the science clubs and all of those things, the math clubs. I was just doing all of that. Yeah, that was where I felt the most comfortable.
Great. Now, what I also love about your story, Andrea, is that like so many other Austin Peay students, it's not a traditional journey from right to high school to college. You have a different path
Yes.
that was set before you. But talk about how you how did you decide to come back to school, and how did that happen?
So I was working at Bridgestone at the time. I loved my job at Bridgestone. I was a quality laboratory technician. My husband also worked at Bridgestone, and we were both working out there together. And this was in the early 2000s when we had when it was during the recession. We were both working there, and we looked at each other and we're like, we both get laid off, what's going to happen? I mean, it was reality. Like, if we both get laid off, we've got we had three kids. They weren't real small at the time, but we're like, what would happen? Worst case scenario, we'd lose our house. But, it's like, we had to think about things like this. And so we got to talking, and the company didn't have a really diverse portfolio. So we knew that we had to make a change. And so my grandparents that I was extremely close to, I just lost my grandfather. And it allowed me at that time, he was very gracious to leave me something. And so I decided to take that and go back to school. And I decided to go to Austin Peay. And so I'll never forget when I walked into Austin Peay and I was talking to an advisor or someone to register, and they're like, oh, you have 12 and a half years of experience at being in a lab tech with all this science and all this. You should do science, major in science. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. They're like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And they're like, why not? I was like, I loved my job and I loved what I did, but I put all of my eggs in one basket, and I could not move up in the company anymore. I had went up as high as I could, and I felt so stuck, and I want to do something totally different. And they're like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I think I want to be a foreign language teacher. And they're like, what? And I was like, I think I want to go into teaching and do like foreign languages or something. And they're like, are you kidding? I was like, no, I'm not kidding. I want to do something totally different, outside the box. Something.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I just picked something totally different. Just, I did not want to go back into the sciences. I loved science and math, but I felt so stuck for 12 and a half years, even though I loved my job. Yeah.
Sure. But that's so brave of you. I hope people understand that this is you walking out on a limb, just on faith there, that you are going to try something, because it would have been much easier to do the familiar. And I think that was the initial direction that, yeah, we know where you can succeed, but you have this drive to grow in a different area.
Yeah, but what people need to understand is, like, talking a foreign language every day and studying a foreign language are two different things. Because even if you study English, we talk English every day, but studying it is different. So people thought, oh, German, you're taking the easy way out. No, studying it was so different
Yeah.
than speaking it and, talking to my grandparents every day. And when I told my grandmother what I was going to do, she was so happy that I was going back to the language that I grew up with. She was so proud and so excited. I didn't think that, but she was telling all of her friends. She was so excited I was going back to my roots, and it just made me happy to know that it made her so happy about that I went back to where I started, because I tried so hard to forget where I had come from because of what I had went through,
That's a great part of the story, that with your grandparents, that they had that wonderful connection with you, and you did this sort of in recognition and honor of them. So let's talk about some of your memories. Who did you enjoy taking classes with, and what was it like back then?
So I enjoyed a lot of my classes. I enjoyed believe it or not, my education classes. They taught me a whole lot. I Dr. Lawrence, I don't know if you know Dr. Lawrence or not. He's passed. He was amazing in my life. He really taught me to be the person that I am today. He taught me to look inside myself and to be the shining light every day, like to come in and to be this positive person that I needed, because I wasn't this positive person when I first started at Austin P. I wasn't the same person that I am now. And he was my advisor in education. And education really taught me to look at people for who they are and how to help them learn and grow in the role that they are, which helps me in my current position, which I am so thankful for. When it comes to the German side, I had the best time with Dr. Putzkar when we went to study abroad. And studying abroad, a language is so different than studying it in the classroom. It was much harder than I ever thought when we went to Klagenfurt, Austria. It was so difficult. I will never forget that. But we had the best time. It was a great balance of classroom learning and then going out and doing things, with a group of people and sightseeing and having fun, with classmates and stuff. And I'm still friends with a lot of the classmates from other countries, from people from Egypt and Greece and other places that I had never got to interact with before. And then, when I was at Austin P, I was a part of the exchange programs and stuff like that. It was just so fun, getting to learn and meet all those people. And Dr. Brockman, man, her and I, we're still best friends to this day. She's amazing. She's just an amazing mentor. Even to this day, if I need something, I just reach out to her and ask her, and we talk pretty regularly. She's just a great light in my life, and I'm just so blessed to still have her as a friend even to this day. And I love seeing all the things that she does, and and how she continues to give back to the community.
That's
and
right.
I can't believe, how far she's even come. Because when I started, she was just an assistant professor. And then she's allowed me to teach in her classes. When I was at Austin P, that taught me so much on how to teach in the role where I'm at even now. And yeah, I had just the best time. And Dr. DePaulo, I loved him because I enjoyed linguistics. That was one of my favorite classes. And even when I get bored now, just even working with him, I'll turn on, my husband's like, what are you doing? I'll just turn on the TV and I listen to different languages. And just for fun, you know, And I don't know Chinese, but I'll just listen to Chinese. He goes, do you know what they're saying? No, but I can follow along with what's going on and stuff like that. And I just listen to different languages. And for me, that is fun. But Dr. Sorensen, she'd be proud of me because I went to Quebec this summer. Dr. Sorensen, I took your French class and I sucked at French, speaking French, but I was able to read it and understand it, and we were able to make it through Quebec just fine. So
she would be very proud of you.
She would be very proud of me, but she taught me to stick with it, even though I had the hardest time with that class. And that teaches me, even with my current role, to stick with it and to never give up. And those professors really helped me out a lot. But, I made a lot of friends while I was there, and I still have those friends to this day.
That's awesome.
And I had a great time at Austin Peay.
And you did that the whole way with 3 kids?
With 3 kids, with 3 girls.
Oh my goodness.
Girls. Yeah. And then one of them was in college at the time, and the other 2 were in high school. Yeah.
So they must have admired your willingness to go back and do that.
Yeah, I would hope so. I was the first one in my family to graduate from college. I was trying to set an example to my girls that they could do it as well. I would call my girls and say, especially my daughter that was in college, she was taking classes at the time too, so we were kind of helping each other, which was great. And my girls that were in high school, we would kind of help each other as well. But I also went back to school because I was like, when my girls are gone, what am I going to do with myself? Where am I going to be? Like, I was a mom for so long, and I was like, now what am I going to do for me? And, but it also sets an example for them that I just had a talk with my youngest daughter not too long ago. She was kind of upset about her life, like her life path and stuff. And I tried to tell her, I said, it doesn't matter how you choose your life path, as long as you get to point A to point B. I didn't choose that I was going to go back to school as a non-traditional student, but I made it. As long as you make it, it doesn't matter. She goes, you're right, Mom. I didn't think about it like that. It just, as long as you do it.
That's right. So let's talk about how you ended up in the position you are, because I think it's all the experience that you brought into this and the fact that you do have this German connection. How did that, and how does that help you in your current job?
So I was, believe it or not, working for the school system, and I liked it, but they decided that they wanted to go in a different direction. And again, I was looking for another job. So I just went to my husband and I said, I have this German degree. Maybe I should put it to use. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, maybe you should try that. And I told him, I said, I think I want a job using my German degree. And I told him, I said, I think I'm going to look here in the US, but if I don't find anything, because while I was studying abroad, I had gotten my certification to where I could work or Germany. So I passed the test for that. So I said, if I can't get it here in the US, then I'll just move over to Germany and live with my grandmother, and I'll apply for some jobs over there for a little while. He's like, okay. Because he didn't mind, moving to Germany if I needed to, if he needed to, if I found a job over there. So I was just looking, and this job had posted, and I applied, and I got it. I was surprised that I got it, but I got it. I think it helped that I had laboratory experience and that I also spoke the language. And if you were wondering, yes, I get to use my German language quite a bit every week. So it does come in handy.
That is great. Yeah. Well, it's great that as you first came to the US, how you kind of had to push that aside and lose your accent and do all that assimilation and like not be German. And here it is, and a number of years later where it's like, I get to use the German language and I get to use it for my job.
Absolutely. I'm pretty proud of it now. I wasn't then, but I am now. I try to use it a whole lot more. I try to make sure that I speak to my colleagues German when I get an opportunity. I listen, believe it or not, to German TV on the weekends and at night, and I read my German books and stuff. So I try to keep on top of it now because I need it more now than I ever did. I get to read technical German documents, which I'm not as good at as I should be, but I am doing it and I am trying to get better at it. And I try to ask my colleagues for help on things like that. I'm not embarrassed to say, hey, I need help with this. And I try to better myself with that. And I'm always happy when I learn something new. And it makes me feel better that I'm bringing myself up and getting better at that, at my language that I tried so hard to forget and so hard to remember that I wasn't that person. But now I am pretty proud that I am.
Wow. What are some of the other rewards and challenges of your position?
Some of the challenges of my position that I have is trying to get everybody aligned to make sure that we're all trying to get in the same direction or move in the same direction where we need to be, especially being a woman in the type of position that I am in. I think it's very difficult sometimes to try to get everybody moving in that direction. But I think it's just everywhere that you're at. It's probably just not here. It's probably
Being a dean in the same way.
any job that you have. That's one of my biggest challenges that I have. I think another challenge is because it's an industrial environment. We're located in an industrial environment. So that makes it a little bit more challenging. But our company is doing a lot to ease that burden on us. So I really love that our company works really hard to bring us together to make sure that we have all the tools that we need to be successful. So I really enjoy that in our company. So they're really good about that. One of the biggest rewards that I have in my position is that I love training my team. I love training, period. That's one thing I miss in teaching. I get to teach my team a lot of things all the time. And that's one thing I did miss. And so I think I have the best about my world is that I get to teach a lot. Yeah. So I don't miss that. So training and teaching is really rewarding. And it makes me want to come to work every day because my team is very happy and they enjoy their position and they enjoy where they're at. And that makes me want to be here and support them in the way that they need to be supported. So that is so rewarding to me, especially when they tell other departments or other areas how happy they are and how lucky they are to be where they're at. That makes me feel good and that they are here.
Oh, that sounds like you're in the right position then.
I hope so. I hope I am. One of the biggest things that I always enjoyed when I was in doing the German is that for a while, when the Edelweiß-Club was here, I taught the little kids German, and I loved that so much. And then, of course, when they left, they weren't here. So I really missed teaching. So being able to do that for my team is actually a lot of fun.
Well, one of the last things we usually ask our guests, Andrea, is what kind of recommendations you have for students. But I want to connect it a little bit to the fact that a lot of people will resist taking a foreign language because it can be difficult, especially if you haven't had any language before. But I think you've shown that it can be so beneficial in today's workforce to have that skill. So what kind of recommendations might you have for a student?
Well, when you're talking, there's several recommendations I would have, but I'll talk first about the foreign language.
Okay.
Foreign language, if you're thinking about taking foreign language, I highly recommend that you jump on the bus and do it. Diversity in a team is very much a must. And foreign language can be that step up. In my team, we actually have, besides myself, we do have people that speak other languages. I have someone that speaks Spanish, and it has come very much in handy because we are a international company, and we do have the need sometimes where we have to speak with our Spanish colleagues, and that has been such a great tool in our department where we've needed that translation or that connection to help get some key information or some help with, oh, we didn't quite understand that, or we need, some extra support there. And so it's great to have people that have other types of languages besides me just speaking German to be able to make that great connection, or that to make sure that we are serving our customers in the ways that they need to be served. So if you're thinking about taking foreign language, please take foreign languages. There are companies out there that really need that support. And it's not just in, a call center or something like that. We use it in the lab a lot. So there you go. There's that. The second thing is when you're thinking about getting a major and you've got your major, think about when you're looking at a job, think outside the box. When you're applying for jobs, we bring high school students through our laboratory sometimes for lab tours, and I'm always asking them, like, what kind of degree do you think you need here, or whatever. Everybody thinks it's always just the science degrees or something like that, and that's not always the case. I have brought people in to do internships that have had mechanical engineering degrees, electrical engineering degrees. We are thinking, outside the box. We have scientific pieces of equipment that need to be serviced, in our laboratory. And, people with maintenance degrees or something like that are just as valuable to us,
right,
than people that are, a chemist or, or anything like that. So when you're looking at your degrees, think about how can I fit somewhere else outside the box than just, that one little degree, and what would make you happy, and where would you want to work that would make you happy, and those kind of things. I have a German degree and I'm working in a lab. So there are things that you can do with your degree that's not traditional in your role. And just keep that in mind. You don't always have to fit. There's not a one size that fits all the time. So yeah, that would be the advice I would give.
That's awesome. And I am so thankful that you have shared your story today.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And I hope that this helps some other students think about their lifelong journey, because that's what it is. It's a lifelong journey.
Well said. Thanks again for being on the podcast, and thanks for being a governor.
Well, thank you. And I love being a governor. Go Govs.
And thanks to our viewers and listeners there for checking out our podcast every week. We hope that you will join us next time as we continue to profile some of the outstanding alumni we have here in the College of Arts and Letters at Austin Peay State University. So until next time, stay safe, take care, and God bless.